I know, crazy title, sounds ridiculous, but if I told you guys a month ago that the Horde will be getting playable dwarves, you would have thought that I'm just clickbaiting and making things up, so just hold on for a second and let me explain what is going on. These new humans are not your regular humans, and everything that you can currently see about them is completely hidden. The only shot where you can actually decipher something is of a massive Kul'Tiran-like paladin, much larger than a regular human. These guys are the descendants of vrykul. They not only seem to have multiple forms, but they are the descendants of another kingdom on another continent we are yet to discover, possibly Avaloren, and they also have absolutely no ties to the Alliance, seeing they left before Lordaeron was even a thing, let alone the Alliance of Lordaeron. Blizzard confirmed that they have involved differently with the use of the light and the so-called holy fire we never even heard about. So literally, who even are these guys? What do they look like? Could we be seeing them joining the Horde much like the Earthen as a new neutral allied race? U.GG now has the coolest update where you can see all the builds from the Team Echo roster so that you can check out what they are working with. With 10.2 in full swing, U.GG is one of the most useful things you can currently use. A super straightforward website where you can look at all the best and up-to-date builds for your class for anything from Mythic Plus to PvP. You got tier lists to see what are the currently best performing classes, from healers to DPS to tanks, all of course based on hard data from the very best of WoW players. Personally, I've been playing a Fury Warrior all my WoW career, and as you can see, I can find the best performing builds, most optimal gear, best in slot, gems, enchants, trinkets, all with a single click of a button and a super straightforward UI. So make sure to click the link in the description, check out U.GG, and optimize your performance for 10.2 completely free. One of the most interesting things we had seen from the War Within announcement are these Arathi humans that are coming, and once you start digging really deep into it, you see that they're going to be one of the coolest features of the new expansion. Like, there's actually some exciting lore. Now, the quickest summary possible of the lore is that they're in Blizzard's own terms, the so-called Uber Paladins, light fanatics that were drawn in by a story of a falling star they heard about, and then they established themselves on this new continent around Algar. Over time, they had evolved to start using holy fire, like something we had never seen before, as in they're literally fueling their ships with this magic, and pretty much their entire existence is dedicated around that massive light crystal in the sky. It's been close to months since the announcement. So many people are saying that this is the tip of Sargeras' sword, which not only did Blizzard literally a day later say that it isn't, but honestly, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, the sword is in Silitudes. This is like many kilometers further on an island, and most importantly, the sword was plunged like a few years back while these guys arrived to this star likely thousands of years ago. So this is 100% a light crystal, and in my opinion, I'm almost certain this is in some way related to a Naru, either an actual Naru or a Naru ship. The reason this speculation is popular is because Naru are known to have polar opposite cycles, so shards of pure light that transform into pure dark void. We have seen this in the past on multiple occasions, and just recently, this gigantic shard that is in the sky, although technically all of this is actually underground, it is just that the shard is so bright so it serves as the sun kind of turning it into the sky. However, this shard started switching to void every now and then, meaning something sinister started going on. Now, a few key things I want you to focus on with these Arathi humans as we get into the interviews that we know about. First of all, we know very little about these humans, and I mean visually. Story-wise, Blizzard gave us some interviews, some hints, so we can kind of connect the dots with the previous lore, but visually, we had barely seen these humans. We got a shot where Kul'Tiran looking paladin is wielding the light, and we got this artwork where all of them are fully clothed, like completely head to toe with armor, but you can't really distinguish their form and what they look like from close up. Only one shot exists from a distance showing their more normal human form, and I think the reason for this is that they look different when compared to regular humans, and that this is a new human form that we are yet to see. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, I don't think this is going to be some crazy human form where they got like 6 arms and 2 heads, but I think they're going to have multiple forms, similar to how you had that gigantic and skinny Kul'Tirans. These guys are probably going to have a more normal and Kul'Tiran type form, but very likely modified and something unlike we had seen before with new and distinct customizations, possibly light influenced. Remember, in the past they came up with that completely new skinny Kul'Tiran form in BFA, although that never actually ended up being playable. Second thing to keep in mind is that these humans have absolutely, and I mean absolutely, nothing to do with the Alliance, not the Alliance of Lordaeron, not the New Alliance or any type of human alliance, and I'm pretty certain they don't even know about the other human kingdoms. Third is that Blizzard has confirmed that these guys have evolved into these new conditions, which could signal a completely different look. Let's very quickly overview the lore that we know and who Blizzard told us that these guys actually are, as I think there are quite a few misconceptions going around the community at the moment in regards to these Arathi humans. Remember, all humans came from the vrykul. They literally deflated from the gigantic forms they had back in Northrend. They lost like half their size. Originally, these vrykul were the followers of Tyr, and remember, Tyr was just actually resurrected, and Tyr's god that originally had vrykul is more relevant than ever with all these new 10.2.5 kins that show that Tyr is going to be a massive part of the World Soul Saga, very likely. Then all of these vrykul that turned into humans united under the nation of Arathi, also known as the Arathi Empire, with the capital of Stromgarde, which is also very highly likely to be revamped soon in WoW Midnight. Now, over time, the Empire split. It separated into a whole bunch of other nations, other kingdoms. These are your Stormwinds, Lordaerons, Gilneas. Some of these have even split further. So, for example, the Gilneas expedition turned into Kul'Tiran over time. Now, this is when these guys come, and this might be one of the most interesting human lore in a while. So, the post-BlizzCon interview with Blizzard's writing team says that when Arathi split, there was another group we didn't know about. They didn't spread around the continent like the rest, but they spawned a brand new kingdom somewhere across the sea, a whole new kingdom we never ever learned about. Now, you may be thinking, I mean, cool, these are these new guys from the War Within, these light paladins, but actually, this is not them. The uber paladins living underground are a derivative of this new kingdom that went across the sea. They are the more fanatical parts of that kingdom that decided to follow this star. This means that the big Arathi human kingdom we are yet to see isn't on this island where we're going to, but in a completely different zone. A lot of people have, for some reason, said that these are fake leaks because that 11.0 popular Avaloren leak didn't turn out to be true. That said that Avaloren is a continent, but Avaloren is definitely still happening. I mean, I think a lot of people have bunched up the two very different stories from Dragonflight and they kind of put them together. The Khazalgar thing and the Avaloren thing are a completely separate story. The Khazalgar dwarves went into a fissure and evolved. These are the Earthen that we're seeing. Avaloren is a place likely beyond the storm where the rebellious Titan Forge group came, and this could be the place where this new Arathi human kingdom came in. So all of this is content that is yet to happen and very likely a big patch zone that will be coming in the War Within. Now, if you're confused, as everyone is, Blizzard has kind of goofed with the location of the War Within zone. On one occasion they told us it is west of Kalimdor, on another they showed us it is around Pandaria, but nonetheless, important thing to keep in mind is that it is a lot closer to Horde territory in the southern part of Kalimdor and Silithus than it is closer to Stromgarde and the ancient Arathi Empire. So this is where I think the neutral humans may come in. We got a few interesting bits going on that can make sense of all of this stuff. Blizzard is doing a neutral playable race thing, giving dwarves for the first time ever to the Horde, which I would say is a pretty big deal. Humans are your most basic Warcraft race, and pretty much all variations, apart from the vrykul, are actually playable. That is because the vrykul are just so much different, they're essentially a completely different race. These Arathi human variations are more akin to Magar orcs and regular orcs that all eventually became playable, even though initially they weren't playable. Now, in WoW Midnight, Blizzard is doing this whole uniting the Elven tribes thing to save Kul'Tiran from the gigantic void invasion that they talked about. We still, of course, don't know exactly what this means, but it could likely start to turn the elves into a neutral race, which could become yet another precedent. Remember, Blood Elves are a part of the Horde, but they have been a part of the Alliance for a lot longer historically. In fact, it was mainly due to Sylvanas and conditions humans at the time that they decided to join the Horde, and so much has changed since then. The Blood Elves with these customizations started getting different looking eyes, which essentially means they're no longer the fell corrupted Blood Elves, but they're returning more to their High Elven form, and High Elves have been a part of the Alliance since a long time, so that kinda puts us in a really tricky position. Then they have recently had a split with the Void Elves, which at the time was like blasphemy to them, but I'm guessing that is going to change with the actual Void invasion, and with the Nightborn we got Elisande that just returned in 10.2.5, so a lot of things are going to be happening around this spot. So I really think there is something going on behind turning certain races neutral, where they're going to serve more like the Pandaren, where they can actually choose their faction. Now this is exactly where these humans step in. At the moment, humans have the regular and the Kul'Tiran form. These guys seem to have both of those forms, which means that if they do become neutral, the Horde is going to get both of these forms, and it is going to make sense in the lore. Also, if you really think about it, with the fact that the factions have essentially united, there is no reason why a new race will join the Horde and the other will join the Alliance, since they're not actually battling each other. This made sense back in the day when we were at war and there was constantly wars between the factions going on, so the Goblins joined the Horde, the Vorgen joined the Alliance. However, you might have noticed that since BFA, they haven't done that, and very likely they will never do that in the future. So I think most new playable races in the future are going to go the neutral route, much like the Draktyr or the Dwarves, or even these new potentially neutral humans. Furthermore, if you guys have followed the 10.2.5 news, Tyr was resurrected. Tyr's gun is starting to turn into a really big deal, and it seems like a way to homogenize all paladins into one order, one related to the light and most importantly Tyr. These Arathi humans are related to both, so I could totally see this storyline that is currently going on happening. They got this new interesting technology. As you might have seen from the trailer, they got very unique architecture, very similar to Gilneas, as well as multiple customization forms and a unique way to serve the light. So realistically, with the way they're setting them up with the current storylines, with the fact that they seem to sort of be hiding their customizations and true forms, I do think these guys could very likely become neutral humans that the Horde will be able to get at some point in the future. I know, sounds crazy, but if I told you the same thing about the Earthen just a month back, you would have thought that I was just making things up. Thank you for watching. Check out why the revamp at midnight will be so much bigger than people think by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain by also clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.